Yo, welcome my friends. It is time for a little building tutorial of the 1x1 GigaChat turtle base. A lot of people want to see it, and here I am. I'm gonna show you guys. Starting off with the 1x1 bunker. The classic. Easily obtainable, hard to raid. Going out into second floor. This can be your furnace or bedroom, whatever you want it to be. Then you go from here up to third floor. Sometimes people who are new to the game also wonder how to open and close this bunker. I'm just gonna show it once so you know how to. So you're gonna place a sleeping bag in here. When you want to close the bunker, you will make a half-wall twig right here. This is metal right now, but you leave this twig on vanilla. You leave this twig, and you put a triangle and upgrade this triangle to whatever resource you have. And then when you want to open this bunker again, you spawn in your sleeping bag inside here, and you remove this wall. And this wall, when broken, removes the triangle on top. As you can see, I just removed this half wall and it removes the wall above. So this is how you open and close the bunker. Let's get right into the next upgrade on the base. From here on out, this is gonna be the way towards open core. This right here is already inner peaks level. So the base is not very tall, but it has nice potential for defense of an online raid. The entry from the outside is gonna be at the bottom. You add a full triangle. This is your way into the inner peaks. And this is gonna be the jump up right here. Either, like, you're gonna honeycomb the core right here. So you can decide if you want this exit to have both inner peak sides in it or not. I usually don't do this, so I'm just gonna go a window here and make this like a window peak into this side of the inner peaks. But this side of the inner peaks will then only be accessible by a door that you are gonna build here later. So you will have it like this. If you want to have both sides accessible from this triangle entry, you will do the jump up like this and have a little walk down here. Maybe a door frame, but I don't really like to do that. I just leave it sealed off like this. The inner peaks, you go triangle, square, square, triangle, triangle. This right here should be maybe raised, so you secure the bunker entry. Honeycomb the bunker, of course. You upgrade all these walls right here, zack, zack. This right here is also honeycomb of the bunker. And of your general core, of course. Second floor, you upgrade all of this. You can do this foundation of the bunker honeycomb below and then do half walls. It costs a little more, but it makes the bunker a little more tanky because people don't get to the honeycomb, like to the bunker entry faster. But I usually just raise the foundation because it's just very cheap and it's almost the same. This right here is your jump up from the outside into your base. Just keep going up. You can make another peak right here as well. You want to. Usually you should do that. The more peaks the better, as long as you have a nice control over them. Then you make some half walls here and there. What I also like to do is when I have my walls pulled up from the bottom, I do a little sneaky peek from here. You'll have to make a half wall like this. Oh, I don't have the commands minded, hold up. Make a window frame with a half wall And then you will put embrasures on them later, which gives you a very nice peek into your inner peaks. And you do that on both sides. And it's gonna be beautiful. Just like this. Then you remove this triangle again, and you have basically a double peak from your jump up, and then when you get into the inner peaks, little sneaky peek. The inner peaks is gonna be like this. They're not too crazy, but usually you will not be playing from these anyways. You will mostly just drop down, or you drop something on the head, for example a grenade. To get into the inner peaks level from this entry, the top of the inner peaks, you will most likely build a ladder and a triangle ladder hedge here. At least that's how I do it, and I find it quite comfortable. Ladder hedge, ladder, and then you can open and close this. You should, if you can afford turrets, the first turret should be in the inner peaks, in each corner of the triangles. Like one turret here, and one turret on the other side right there. Moving on from the inner peaks, we will go to the shooting floor / open core level. You seal all of this up, and depending on how you want to, like, you can have different types of ways up. One of my favorites right now is probably this one. You see? This one right here, where you have a window, once again creating a peak into your open core with the horizontal embrasure. One tip I can give you, if you upgrade this, you should always do this. If you are gonna leave the base on inner peaks level and not upgrade fully to open core, don't put a normal wall here. Because if you are on the server with some freaks, they might start soft siding this. If it's stone, for example, they soft side this wall and they get a free entry past your whatever you have here, garage door or maybe metal door. That way they skip the whole door if they break this wall. So you always make a half wall here if you're not gonna upgrade the base fully. Otherwise it doesn't matter, then you can put a normal wall, but I've had the experience where people skip one door there, so always do half wall. Now we are on open core / outer peaks level. You should always, if you want to prioritize making your base tanky, always make sure you honeycomb the bunker and the second floor as fast as possible. If you know you're getting raided and you can't build up enough towards a defendable big base, just start honeycombing the bottom. So now that we have the whole core built, we are gonna head to the outer peaks level. Starting off with the TC sided, the bunker entry sided TC. You wanna do square here, a triangle here, and the square in front of it. This is gonna be another shoot towards your shooting floor later on. You go 1, 2 squares out, triangle, and then you go 3 triangles back, demolish the triangle where you came from, and you will start going out, creating a disconnectable outer TC. You go square, triangle, 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 square, triangle, triangle. This is basically the default for a disconnectable outer TC. If you don't know how to do that, you can easily search it up. I can also just explain it real quick. So what you need to do after building this, like 3 triangles and a square, you have to make sure these 2 walls are half walls. You put your TC down, then you put a frame over here, square, triangle, triangle, triangle up. If you've done it right, you should be able to do this without it falling apart. You don't need this anymore. And then let's say someone breaks your main TC and you want to replace it. and don't want this TC to be overlapping anymore with your main TC, you do this, and it breaks your outer TC connection to the main base, so you can replace the TC in the main base. Suck. Reconnect that again. This is one of the outer TCs. If I want to have a turret in my compound, this is usually the way to go. I build this first outer TC, then I build this little ramp peak, put a turret on this, and it's nice coverage left and right of the base, holding this entry into the base. And we will repeat this process on the other side of the base. 2 triangles, 2 squares, 1 triangle, 3 triangles back to base. Now we have our peak again, and we will do another disconnectable outer TC. Square for like gatehouse or whatever later on. So you make sure you put 1 square here, and you will add another square at the end. So the TC is actually far enough from the main base. I'm just gonna speedrun this because we just showed it already. Always make sure you have your square on the side of the TC. If you swap this up by mistake and your design doesn't allow you to place a square here, like this will not work. You know? So you always have to make sure you have your square on the outer TC side. So the disconnecting actually works. One of the mistakes I did quite a few times when I first started building these. So I just wanted to point it out so you guys don't have to do the same mistake as I did. Always make sure the square is on the side of the outer TC. Now coming to the white gaps on the corners of the peaks. You want to start off, make sure you are facing the right corner, where you see the triangle sticking out from your inner piece. You put a square and a triangle to get the triangle reaching the perfect corner. And you go 1, 2, 3 squares out, triangle, demolish everything, and then triangle back. It should be looking something like this. If it doesn't look like this, you need to redo it. But you can put a square next to the entry to see if you did it right. If you did it right, it should form like a little gap where you can't walk through. After doing that, we demolish the rest of the triangles going out and do the same process we did on the other 2 TCs. Square, 4 triangles, square, triangle, triangle, to get another outer TC that's disconnectable. You can swap these frames, either go with a door frame, double, single, however you like them. Sometimes I like to put a shop here, so I'm gonna just do a single door here as a shop frame. And this we repeat on the other side as well. And we should be looking good to build our white gaps in a second. Square, triangle, 3 squares out, triangle, demolish everything towards the base, triangle back, do the squares and do the test, placing the square at the end of the double square. Test if you can run through. No, good. Demolish the squares and triangles going out. 1 square, 4 triangles, square, 2 triangles. Don't forget your half walls on the disconnectable TC. These walls need to be half walls. Once again, if they're not half walls, the stability for demolishing the bunker and demolishing the connection is not gonna work. This is a normal wall. This will not work. I will showcase this once. If it's a normal wall, the disconnecting process doesn't work. So always gotta make sure you have that double half wall. Suck. Looking good. Let's make the turret pot on the other side real quick as well to match the base. You add the missing squares on each corner Suck, 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 suck. And we go 1, 2, 3 triangles from the third pots towards the base as well. On each side. We will repeat that on every side. Suck, suck, suck. And now we have our white gap formation. What I like to do often is instantly just create a funnel. I like my funnels with windows, so we will do it like this. I'm gonna use these 3 triangles as our exits. So a lot of windows, a lot of window frames, and these triangles are our exits out of the funnel. So we'll have 4 exits out the funnel. 2 on each side. Windows, aka the aquarium, on the opposite sides where the peaks are. Suck. Or triangles. It depends. You can put like double door frames here as well if you want to. But I just like single doors more to funnel PvP into them. If you have a lot of people pushing you, if you have a double door frame, you're just getting rolled. If like 4 or 5 people push you through a single door frame, it's easy to line up headshots. So I would advise you to do the same and just use a lot of single doors. The funnel will never be... It doesn't matter how tanky the funnel is on doors, because no one is gonna raid you through the funnel if they offline you anyways. So the tankiness is unimportant. And if they online raid you, they are slamming through walls. So it's definitely the choice to take the single doors. I just added 2 more half walls here with triangles on top of the turret pots. You will see that coming in handy later in the white gaps. I'll repeat the same on the other side. And let's get started on the white gaps. I'm gonna go into no clip. So what you want to do, it depends sometimes. Right now, I'm pretty sure to line up the whole white gaps with the shooting floor, we'll have to use 1 half wall. It is best to use the half wall early. For example, this will deny a little bit of peek into your compound. What I like to do, I just start the half wall early off at the bottom of your white gaps. So you have the half wall out of the way and you can focus on actually building decent peaks up. So it doesn't block any view if you have the half walls at the bottom. And it's also harder for the people to twig up to the top of your base. So just make sure that the frames are lined up to the top of shooting floor, and if you need to use half walls, use the half walls deep of your shooting floor. I'm just gonna repeat this going up. Over here, like I variate quite often. If I want to have a little more advanced white gap, I sometimes build like a little nest, you could say, where you can peek down from. I don't do that always, but when I have a lot of resources, I do it. So for example, I want to have some half wall peaks here in this white gap. I will go like this. The window frames, you gotta make sure the window frames are on the same level as the top floor. Window frames, a wall for the half walls that you're about to place. And you go... Wait, 1 sec, let me demolish this. Go frame here. Put some triangles at the bottom just to make more stability. And then you can go like this. 4 window frames, put half walls. And boom, you have 4 half wall peaks. When they are juiced up with embrasures, they are very hard to kill you in. Especially if you play with a pot helmet, for example. Then it gets like very, very annoying for the raiders. When you're shooting out of them, trying to defend the base. Check, check, check. Looking good, looking good. We will repeat this process on the other side. And when I have it upgraded, You will see me in a second. Okay, now that we have upgraded all the sides, raised all the white caps up to the top, we are gonna finish the jump up from the outside. This is gonna be a shoot. If possible, you want to make sure it goes straight to the shooting floor. So you'll have triple honeycomb at the bottom, and then like 2 ladders bringing you up to the shooting floor. Suck. Oh, hoppala. Want to make sure this is sealed off. And then you start connecting the white gaps with the main base. This right here is going to be the way in to the open core in a second. And we will have 2 ways to the top roof. One with a little jump that you have to master, but it's not that hard. So we keep putting our triangles down for the white cap. You can decide how you want to do it. I like, for example, this peak a lot. If you put a turret here, it has a nice range shooting down. If you have bolty silencer in this is killing everyone in your tunnel. So I like to do this. But the downside is, if they slam this wall right here, for example, at the bottom floor, this might disappear, this triangle. So you're like at risk a bit, but even if they slam the bottom of your base, this triangle disappears. It creates more space for this bolty turret, for example. So there is some upsides to it as well, but it's all personal preference. I just like doing them like this. And here we add some more triangles, creating another nice white cap. More triangles, more triangles. Square. Then we juice up the shooting floor. You can repeat the peaks here as many times as you want, as long as you put enough frames. I like to do that a lot, so I'm usually doing it till the top of my base. Now we create the open core. If you want to put walls all around, just leave one walkway for the white caps. Repeat the piece right here as well. Suck, suck, suck. Now we're in the open core. Suck, suck. Alrighty. Another roof peak, I think this time we will not do. Because this peak right here is good for retaking open core, and it's not that easy to reach. If you have your open core peak from top, you have to make sure you put a lot of garage doors, and I don't like doing that. So I usually don't have this roof peak right here. It is nice to have control to retake roof from a peak like this, but it rarely happens that you have to do that, so it's whatever. I usually just leave the half wall here. So this is gonna be open core right here. I'm gonna show you how to design the open core as well real quick. There's a lot of variations to it. You can do however you like it. I'm just gonna show you real quick how I like to do it. Usually I will have 1 bedroom and 3 loot rooms. So it's gonna be, let's say I want the bedroom to be probably near the peak. I'm gonna place like this. Suck. And then we'll have loot room here. Loot room here. And here, check. giving you space for a lot of boxes. I usually play this base design solo, but you can easily play this duo or trio as well. So we'll have a lot of boxes to put your looties in. The box I'm placing right now probably not most efficient, but they usually do the job for me. Suck. You also want to, like, if you have open core up and the base fully built, this like needs to be armored 100%, because this is the top of your base. It is one wall to your open core. As most like more PvP based designs, it's not that hard to offline raid, but you can spread the loot into the bunker at the bottom and some maybe into your jump ups. Put some barrels under the roof. Always when you go offline, you should never have, in general, you should never have the loot at one place. You also have your externals that you can use to put in one barrel or two. It's just the best to not get offline. Just spread the loot into your externals, and then it doesn't really matter if it's one wall to your open core, because the loot is not there anyways. Let's continue upgrading the shooting floor. You most likely have to put frames here to fill up these gaps, yep. Because the stability at the bottom is not great, since you only have one triangle of frames going up. But it is enough to finish the base, so it's not that deep. On shooting floor, you should make sure the top of your shooting floor should all be hanging off the white gaps, because the stability is so low that it will fall apart fast when there's walls missing at the bottom. Even faster than the bottom of your white gaps. So the roof, always make sure you hang them onto the frame of your white gap. Then we finish up the shooting floor. And now we have two exits to the roof. Opposite sides, perfect. What you should do most of the time, an exit on the roof like this, so you can add another 2 extra garage doors. If you're rich like that, you should do it. I'm usually poor, so I only have 1 garage door most of the time, but this is the optimal play. It is also an optimal position to put batteries. If you don't want to have windows, you put batteries in these corners. People are, if they are pumping your base or whatever, they rarely touch the roof exit, so it's a good spot to have your power stored to keep the turrets alive as long as possible. These are the 2 variations that I like to use when I'm up. And then you have to decide if you want retake peaks, you build them here. You can also just seal this off if you don't like this, but having retake peak is very nice. So this combi to the roof is very good, and you don't have this one peak that I already showed earlier that shows you a loot room after like 2 garage doors. So you don't do that peak, but you will add a nice peak at the corners of your white gap. You can vary these peaks of course as well. If you don't like this, you just put another door or whatever, but I usually go with this combo and it's perfect. I enjoy it a lot. You put garage doors all over the place, and the base is almost done. What you of course also want to have is barricades at the bottom to make the funnel only accessible through your entries. You can decide if you want to have the barricades on top like this. I usually have them on the already given foundries, and sometimes I do it like this, where I build a little bit in. No one is gonna no one in their right mind is gonna bother to like hop into your funnel from the top with ladders when they're online raiding you. Like no one. You can do it like this, or you let the roofs hang out a little bit. But most of the times I do it the way I just showed, with the barricades closer to the base. Alrighty, I think this should be good enough. If you guys have any questions about the base design, just let me know and I will hopefully be able to answer all your questions in the comments. If you made it this far, definitely make sure to drop a like and see you in the next building tutorial. Peace.